If electricity vanished tomorrow, most modern greenhouses would become useless within days. Yet food was grown year-round for centuries without a single wire. Long before heaters, fans and automated vents, people in harsh climates learned how to trap heat, store it, and release it slowly enough to keep plants alive through freezing nights. Earthbag greenhouses are one of those solutions. Built from soil, natural fibre bags and simple glazing, they rely on thermal mass instead of power. This is not a novelty concept. Variations of earth-sheltered growing spaces existed in the Middle East, Central Asia and high-altitude farming communities where winter growing meant survival. What modern builders are rediscovering is not innovation, but forgotten engineering. Earthbag walls work because soil stores heat better than almost any modern building material. During the day, sunlight enters the greenhouse and warms the interior air and surfaces. Thick earthbag walls absorb this heat slowly, storing it deep within the mass. When night falls and temperatures drop, that stored heat radiates back into the growing space. This is the same principle used in ancient root cellars, desert homes and Roman bathhouses. For practical use, builders stack earth-filled bags in staggered courses, tamping them tight to eliminate air gaps. Even a wall thickness of 40 to 50 centimetres can stabilise interior temperatures enough to protect crops through frost without any external heat source. You know, earth sheltering multiplies thermal efficiency without increasing complexity. It's a clever approach, really. Many historical growing structures were partially buried, using the constant temperature of the earth as insulation. An earthbag greenhouse, well, it benefits enormously from sinking the structure 1 to 2 feet into the ground. Soil temperatures below the frost line, they remain relatively stable year-round. By anchoring the greenhouse into that thermal stability, temperature swings are reduced dramatically. In practice, this means excavating a shallow foundation, building earthbag walls upward from that point, and allowing the surrounding soil to insulate the lower structure. You know, crops really benefit from steady root temperatures, which, more often than not, matter even more than the air temperature itself. Orientation and glazing, well, those are the things that actually turn stored heat into a year-round growth for your plants. Ancient builders, they paid obsessive attention to sun angles, and honestly, earthbag greenhouses are no different. The longest glazed wall, it must face true south in the northern hemisphere if you want to capture the maximum winter sun. Now, the glazing, it doesn't need to be expensive, not at all. Historically, folks used oiled cloth-thin stone or even animal skins. These days, reclaimed windows or polycarbonate panels work just as well, if not better. You know, the key is angle, not material. Slanted glazing allows that low winter sun to really penetrate deeply, warming up the soil beds and walls. At the same time, when the summer sun is higher, it's naturally deflected, which helps prevent overheating. Ventilation here is passive, you see, controlled by physics rather than any switches or fancy gadgets. A greenhouse without electricity still needs airflow and, well, ancient builders solved this through something called stack ventilation. It's simple, really. Warm air rises. By placing small vents near the roofline and intake openings near ground level, hot air escapes naturally, pulling fresh air inside. Earthbag greenhouses often include simple wooden shutters or removable plugs that can be adjusted by hand. In daily use, vents are opened briefly during warm daylight hours and sealed before sunset to trap heat. This routine replaces electric fans with awareness and timing. Soil beds inside earthbag greenhouses become heat batteries of their own. Raised beds built directly against earthbag walls absorb warmth during the day and release it at night. You know, historical winter gardens often use deep beds filled with composting material which generated additional heat through microbial activity. Modern growers can replicate this by layering manure, straw and soil beneath planting beds. As the material breaks down, it produces gentle warmth that, well, protects roots. Crops like greens, herbs and cold-tolerant vegetables thrive in this environment even during deep winter. You know, earthbag construction allows repairs and expansion without the need for any specialized tools. It's really that simple and practical. One reason this method endured historically is, well, its adaptability. If a wall cracked, it was just replastered, no fuss, and if space was needed, another course of bags was added, easy as that. These days, modern survivalists benefit from that same flexibility. Bags can be filled with on-site soil, which honestly eliminates transport costs altogether. Plaster made from lime, clay or cement, you know, protects walls from moisture while still allowing them to breathe. Over time, earthbag greenhouses age slowly rather than, well, failing suddenly, unlike many modern structures. This system succeeds because it works with natural forces instead of, you know, fighting them. You know, electric greenhouses, they really try to overpower the climate. But earthbag greenhouses, well, they actually collaborate with it. Sun, soil, gravity and time, those are the forces that do the work. Once it's built, the structure needs no fuel, no grid connection, and honestly, just minimal maintenance. And this really is why similar techniques have survived across centuries and cultures. They were simply dependable under pressure. Earthbag greenhouses are not about nostalgia, but really about resilience. They offer food security in unstable climates, independence from energy systems, and, well, a return to principles that sustained people long before modern infrastructure. Whether used on a homestead, survival retreat, or small farm, they demonstrate that year-round growing is possible with knowledge instead of machinery. If you value historical techniques that still outperform modern systems when it matters most, subscribe to Husbandry. Share this with fellow survivalists and history enthusiasts, and help keep this knowledge alive for the generations who will need it.